Nishino wakes up on her alarm, realizing she fell asleep while studying. With a blank face, she goes through her morning routine and prepares to leave for school. Just as she opens the door, she gets a traumatic picture of wild reporters surrounding her. With a sudden gasp, she comes back to reality where only her guard awaits her. As she enters the school building, with a perfect smile, she greets almost everyone in school until she reaches the lockers. Her smile falls as she sees the boy she does not like. She wears the smile again and greets Kagino pleasantly, who misnames her. She keeps up her smile and mentions him using the wrong name. Kagino, the go, who sits beside her in class every day, conveniently mentions forgetting the names of the people not being key figures in his life. Even after her correcting it, he uses the wrong name and leaves after getting on her nerves. As he leaves, she thinks to herself that it's not this issue that she finds annoying, but the fact that even when he is looking at her, it seems like he does not see her and is looking at something beyond her. Nishino is a celebrity loved by everyone, and she seems to be keeping a sweet image. While everyone talks to her, the guy beside her is always lost in his world, ignoring everyone else. Nishino had gotten into a scandal when in middle school. That caused her to almost put a stop to her acting career, but she still fought through. Since then, she decided to put on a mask to not let anyone get through to her. She always puts on a smile, is nice to everyone, and aces in academics to be in the good books of the teachers. She maintains the perfect persona to not be harmed. While Kagino is a mediocre student with no attempts of socializing and reading weird books while wanting more power for God knows what. The bodyguard of Nishino is cornered and attacked by some goons. Nishino keeps trying to contact him, but upon failing to reach him, she decides to walk back home. As she is walking on an empty street, a sudden sound of fast footsteps makes her look around in fear. Her fear is not just in her head, but actually the bad guys who attacked her bodyguard surround her. She tries to run away, but it is in vain. As she is forced to lose consciousness, she sees Kagino on the far end of the street, witnessing it all. Nishino wakes up tied down, and the guys are amused to see her helpless. They mock her for calling danger on herself by walking alone as if they did not have a hand in hurting her bodyguard. One of the guys, an ex-soldier, shuts the other one into waiting for the ransom amount, as they already reached out to her father for the money outside the shed, and then opens his bag to reveal a mask that usually is found on the faces of robbers. The shady guy inside decides to be sick enough to harass Nishino in the meantime. He tries to force himself upon her and calls out to her to have done this before. This traumatizes her even more, as she cries out loud as if begging for mercy. Back in middle school, Nishino was abducted by a stalker of hers who captured some indecent photos of hers and leaked them. This news had almost ruined her life back then. This time, however, someone jumps in from the windows of the roof to the rescue of the poor girl. Out of all the hero names in the world, this guy decided to call himself the stylish thug slayer. The perverted guy is beaten up by Kageno in a minute, but the army guy seems to be impressed by this stylish thug and decides to fight him physically instead of using his gun. The guy was expelled from the army, and since then he has been bored while working with lowlives, kidnapping girls, and living on ransom money. Kageno seems to be interested in fighting soldiers as well. The first hit brings such ecstasy to the soldier that it can be seen why he was expelled from the army. Kageno uses bars to fight back. They are handy as weapons and not questioned by police. The soldier praises his strength and smartness, but the difference in their physiques is still a prominent point. Even though Kageno manages to use his bars into beating the soldier brutally, he can tell that he still lacked power in comparison to him and would never survive if more than one soldier attacked him. Nishino is saved and the news remains away from the media as well. The next day, Nishino continues with her same fake persona until she meets Kageno. He greets her back, and it takes her a moment to realize he named her right this time. She notices him looking at her this time. Deep down, Nishino is sure that it was Kageno that saved her, but life did not give her a chance to ever confirm that. Soon after the incident, Kageno was run over by a truck and killed. In his subconscious, Kageno thinks of how, like every other kid, he wanted to be a hero that saves the world. But unlike others, he did not grow out of this fascination, but only grew more attached to the idea. He kept working hard on his build and on his mind to be strong enough, but no matter how hard he tries, he does not have any unique power to save him from everything. He cannot fight against weapons, bombs, or trucks. He wanted to be someone who remains unharmed even through a nuclear attack. After the strong aspiration, Kageno is seen on a rooftop in a black uniform with a group of people in the same getup as him. They all call Kageno their master and praise his intellect and his powers as they prepare to nail a big hunt. Kageno finally got his long-awaited reincarnation in a world full of magic. With magic in his hands, he can attain what he desires the most, more power. As everyone flies to launch the attack they planned, Kageno grins, ready to risk everything about him in achieving to be neither a hero nor a villain, but someone who exhibits his power from the shadow. He aims to become the eminence in shadow. Sid was reborn in a magical world in the family of Baron Kageno, an aristocrat. This family is known to produce dark knights, the knights who enhance their physical abilities using magic, and everyone has high hopes for the heir. Not him, but his sister Claire, under whose shadow he lives as an average boy. But once again, it's an exterior and not the reality. At night, Sid wanders wearing a classy robe and threatens some goons to show where their looted money is. They don't feel intimidated by a young boy until the young boy uses a slime sword through his robe to behead the person. It takes him a single attack to kill everyone except one person who thinks he is a big shot against Sid. Sid is ready to test whether this person can last for 2 minutes against him. At one attack, Sid starts bleeding due to the sword hitting his chest, or not. He mocks the man by using his slimy bodysuit to make it seem like he got hurt. Sid then finishes his job, deducing the man couldn't last 2 minutes. Sid looks around at the money and treasure left behind when he notices something alive in a cage. There is a hideous monster that's been rotting, but alive. Sid notices the presence of some curse and decides to take it with him as his lab rat. After several random experimentations, Sid manages to lift the curse, and the monster turns back into a young elf girl. Wanting to give a remarkable first performance as the eminence in shadow, Sid sits back and makes up a story about the fairy tale of Diablos being true, and when he died, he left a curse that affected you, but to cover it all up, people decided to call her possessed. She asks, who did this to her? Sid tries to find another lie but fails, so excuses it's not safe to say yet. Upon her insistence, he looks back at a bottle and uses the reference to call the culprits, the cult of Diablos. A group of people are planning to revive the demon Diablos. He then introduces himself as Shadow and asks if she wants to join him in being a shadow and attacking villains from shadows. Since he saved her, she is ready to give her all to him. Sid thinks about how made the whole thing up, and they would just be facing bad guys from the government and authorities. But this girl seems to be ready to follow Sid in whatever he says. Sid gives her the name Alpha and calls their organization the Shadow Garden after Alpha tells him they would need more members to work well. After 3 years, as Sid turns 13, he still acts like a background character who's just an average Dark Knight. He hides the fact that he has mastered all kinds of martial arts and loses while training with Claire, as if he never made any progress. When nobles turn 15, they attend the Midgar Academy for Dark Knights in the royal capital. Claire is leaving for that, but on the day of her leaving, everyone is shocked to see her abducted from her room. As his parents fight over finding Claire, Sid walks away with this one maid, who turns out to be an elf disguised as a servant. As said, Alpha had recruited people for Shadow Garden pretty easily, making them grow in number. Beta reports that Alpha has been looking up the situation. Beta shares that the kidnapper belongs to the cult of Diablos, who thinks Claire is one of the descendants of the 3 heroes who defeated Diablos. Sid thinks of how every normal troublemaker becomes a part of that cult when the girls of Shadow Garden are talking. It's pretty much his fault, though. As she shares the potential hideouts where Claire might be, Sid acts cool and shoots at the map, pointing at one. Unfortunately, he misses the marks and points at a blank space. Like a true devotee, Beta acts all excited and impressed that Shadow found a secret hideout. Viscount Grease, the one who kidnapped Claire, is impressed that she can use magic even when in magic sealing cuffs. She shares what she learned from her brother, who always loses against her, making her enjoy picking on him. Grease mentions the rumor of Sid treating her when she showed signs of possession, but she calls it crap as no way Sid is that talented. Only if she knew. Grease thinks of checking on her brother, but she hurts her hands by breaking the cuffs and threatens to kill him if he touches her. Grease punches her unconsciousness at her bratty attitude. A guard rushes to Grease informing them about intruders. He mentions 7 girls appearing out of nowhere like shadows and dropping their well-qualified men like flies. As Grease reaches there, he finds all his men down. The girls mention knowing all about the cult of Diablos and the revival of the demon. Grease, instead of calling it stupid, surprisingly questions how they know about this secret and attacks them. Alpha easily dodges his attacks and wounds him. Grease takes some pill that increases his magical energy, but he still seems not to be a match for Alpha. She doesn't want to kill him as she wants some answers, but Grease hits his sword to the ground, breaking it, and disappears into some underground path. Alpha tells others he is headed straight to Shadow. Everyone is amazed at how Shadow knew it all and went that way. Shadow is the perfect demonstration of luck being by someone's side. The teenager had lost his way while being carried away and reached exactly where Grease was running. Grease tries to attack him, but Shadow stops him with the tip of his sword. He notices Grease has a good amount of magic and power, but knowing how to use it, so decides to teach him. Teach him by applying the proper techniques on him. As Grease is brutally injured by Shadow's attacks, he tells him that even if he is defeated, Shadow cannot fight the depth of darkness the world has. Instead of being scared, Shadow seems excited to dive deeper into it. Grease swallows the remaining pills and tries to attack Shadow with the increased energy, but cannot even scratch him a little. Grease is stunned to see the immense amount of magical energy Shadow exhibits before killing him. As Grease sees the photo of his daughter, Milia, before losing, he hopes that this boy might be able to defeat darkness. Claire came back home after breaking her chains. She then left after her injuries were healed. Sid also looks forward to going to the royal capital after 2 years, as he might find some real protagonists and villains there. Alpha addresses him, telling him the hour has come, and this is a goodbye from all the girls to him. Sid just stands there confused.